What is going on, garden fans? Welcome back to the Permaculture Homestead. I hope everything is good with you. I have had a pretty rough couple months that has included me totaling my car, nearly chopping off my own knee with a chainsaw that required 16 stitches, and of course the resultant physical therapy that went with it. And currently I'm hopping around with a sprained ankle. That, with some other health issues I've been dealing with, have just kept me out of the garden the past couple months. So, the best thing you can do to help us out right now is just subscribe. Please give us that thumbs up and please to share this content. That's what really helps us out. The YouTube algorithm hasn't been very friendly to us lately, so help us out. Without further ado, I'm going to give you a tour today of the Permaculture Project site, and I've got one coming for what's been going on back here the past couple months. I've been missing y'all. Hope everything is all right. God bless. Enjoy the journey. I am out at the Permaculture Project site at Locklairs Farm in Gaston, South Carolina, and I am going to give you all the last food forest tour of this place for the year. The next tour I do will be probably in spring. We are coming into fall and winter. There's not a whole lot growing on. What we're going to be doing is just some scheduled maintenance and disturbances throughout the fall and winter, getting the place prepped for spring. I'm going to start at the bottom of the hill here. We have a huge vegetable mandala garden where they have been growing vegetables all year. It has been a mixed planting. There have been squash. There have been watermelon. We have eggplant, green beans. A lot of the eggplant here are still flowering and still trying to fruit, even though we're coming into winter and the temperatures are starting to drop. We definitely have green beans out here as nitrogen fixation. They were growing peppers out here, many types of peppers, bell peppers, hot peppers, peppers galore, pepper. We may have enough time in the season for these to finish out, but there's not a 100% chance that they will. Tomatoes, of course, have been growing out here on these hugel mounds. A lot of cherry tomatoes, a lot of basil has also been growing here. So this vegetable mandala garden has been quite productive for the family here. There's a small herb garden where there's some rosemary, some mint, and then some lemon balm. Standard kitchen herbs with some companion plants like marigold. And we've moved all the vegetable gardening down here onto the vegetable mandala area because this is where we want it. We want it close to the shop. It makes it easier to come out here and maintain all of this. And the maintenance we have to do for the fall and winter is reinvigorate these hugel mounds. You can see some of the wood core starting to show through. What we need to do is get a little more wood core down and then throw on some compost. Moving on up the hill. This is our first swale and swale patty. It is a mixed planting of all types of different fruits and vegetables. Right here I have a asparagus patch. This is a very large asparagus patch. It's taken up a really good corner of this swale patty, and it kind of works its way into some of the understory plants that we have, which are blueberries. And all of the blueberries going down this swale mound are understory plants for the mayhaws that we have growing. We have a couple different variety of mayhaw. This right here is a swamp mayhaw. We also have a Georgia red mayhaw and a couple other swamp mayhaws out here. On the downhill side of this swale mound and patty, we have figs. The figs are growing on the mounds, and they need to be a little bit liberated here. They're obviously getting overtaken by some native weeds, which is no problem with us. But there are figs growing on this swale mound. On the downhill side, we have nitrogen fixation in the form of autumn olive. Lots of autumn olive here, lots of autumn olive here. And the autumn olive is doing a job of providing nitrogen and shade for pawpaw trees. And these pawpaws like a little bit of shade the early part of their life. As they get older and taller and bigger, they're also going to like the direct sunlight. As of now, the gummy berry are the nurse crop for the eventual overstory pawpaw trees that are here. So that's what we got going on this first swale patty and swale mound. The leaves are starting to change color. That looks pretty cool. We're starting to get a good yellows and reds out here. It really is fall. Now also on this swale patty, this first swale patty, we have a huge hedge of elderberry that needs to be chopped and dropped. We're going to use all the choppings and droppings for building material. Underneath this elderberry hedge are blackberries, and these are local wild thorny variety blackberries. These are very thorny, however they put off a very large and very sweet berry, so we've been learning to work with them here. We're trying to work with nature, not against it. So we do let some of the native food items grow, even though they might be a little tough to work with. Now, looking up, this is the next swale and swale patty. This has a polyculture of blackberries as an understory. And the blackberries up here are now thornless, which we're going to try to continue to spread. And as the thorny varieties die off, we'll continue to spread the thornless varieties. Pomegranate right here. We have a persimmon right over here. Leaves starting to change color. Looks very nice. And then we have jujube, which was a family favorite here at the farm. We have 5 jujubes growing on site. They are 2 years old, over 6 feet tall, and they all produced for us this year. We have Lee and Lang variety jujubes. Both had produced at different times, which gave us somewhat of a continual harvest as we went throughout the year. Jujubes were a fan favorite. I'm really expecting these in the coming years to get 20, 30 feet tall and really produce a lot of fruit for us. They remained relatively pest-free. There was no pest damage to any of the fruit that we had. And now they are starting to change color and get ready for fall leaf drop. So Lee and Lang jujube. Here is another jujube right here. This third swale patty up is also, of course, a mixed planting. We have jujube, we have pomegranate, pineapple guava, 2 shrubs right here, side by side, doing very well. We have a cherry tree starting to drop its leaves. Some of the things we've grown have not made it. Some things have died, and we will be coming out here to replace them. This is goji berry, still flowering, just like the goji berry at my house. This is a pecan tree right here, starting to drop its leaves, but it did put on a significant amount of growth this year, and still alive. The understory, just like the last swale patty, is blackberry. And we have thornless blackberries growing. What we're gonna do for our fall is tip layer these blackberries, these long blackberry canes. We're gonna stick their nose in the ground and help them spread. Here's another pineapple guava. There is another pineapple guava sharing some space with a blackberry, which is just fine by me. Here is another persimmon starting to change and drop its leaves. And now we're getting into more of the nuts. This is like the mixed fruit and nut planting. Here it looks really good. It looks like a tangled mess, which it kind of is at this point in the game. We need to move around some of the blackberry canes. We got to tip layer them into the ground. We have a mulberry tree right here. This is a Mystic Red mulberry. The mulberries, all of them, have put on a significant amount of growth. 15 feet tall. It has a companion plant, of course, autumn olive, right next to it. Here is a plum tree, not too far from that. Here are some more nut trees over here. We have an all-in-one almond. This is a gummy berry. An all-in-one almond right here. Has an understory of alpine strawberry. And then another plum tree right behind it. This is a pear tree right here. We have more nuts on this downhill swale. This is a Chinese chestnut Not too far from that, we have a large mulberry. And I'm just going to give you a quick peek at the last swale patty. This is the largest swale patty in Mound. We have another pear. We have another all-in-one almond. Some more autumn olive as nitrogen fixation. That is the main nitrogen fixation we have here on site. Eventually they will be dropped and sacrificed. Here is another pomegranate. Here is another pecan tree starting to drop its leaves and change color. It of course has a companion of autumn olive. Here is another mulberry. A pretty good looking specimen too. Here is a plum, Ozark plum. Another pomegranate. Here is another Chinese chestnut that has a companion of autumn olive. And I've already chop and dropped this autumn olive once, and what I'll do is chop and drop it again and kind of liberate the canopy space for this Chinese chestnut, which this year has added another few feet to it. So it's mixed fruit and nuts. They're all mixed fruit and nuts that grow well in South Carolina, Zone 8. Here are some hazelnuts, all dropping their leaves. Here is another patch of hazelnuts. We have 2 hazelnuts next to 2 hazelnuts. These also have put on quite a bit of growth. They're starting to bud up and get ready to catkin for next year. Here's one, here's another. Another pomegranate over here, losing its leaves, changing color, starting to get a little yellow on us. So fall is definitely here, garden fans. We're coming to an end. Not going to be a whole lot to look at here in the next couple of months. Really what we're going to be doing is a lot of maintenance. Mowing, chopping, dropping. We're going to be adding down some clover. We're going to be wood chipping and planning out what we need to be growing. We have a few trees that died. We had a cherry tree out here that died, got gnawed up. We have an apricot tree that got gnawed up. So we got to take out some of those, and we'll probably be replacing them with more things like jujube, which did really well. Overall, all in all, garden fans, for this second year here at the Food Forest, it's done a lot with very little maintenance, and this is the most productive year it's had as far as fruit. Blackberries, elderberry, jujubes, plenty of fruit was out here, and even some nuts. I did harvest a few nuts off of our hazelburts, and I did harvest 1 Chinese chestnut. So in the years to come, I'm expecting nothing but a lot more fruit and food out of this place, especially from the mulberries next year. So keep in touch. If you're not already, please subscribe. Please like this video. Please share it. It really helps us out. We just can't do it without you. Thanks so much for watching. God bless. I'm going to get out of the rain.